Welcome to the Squared Circle Pit with your host, Rob Pasbani.
Now entering the Squared Circle Pit, I know him as Mr. Green Mist on Twitch. He is Scotland Green, and he has very many opinions on this past weekend's SummerSlam and wrestling in general, I would say.
I am full of opinions. Thanks for having me.
It is an absolute pleasure. I very much enjoy your pro wrestling potluck, your hodgepodge of classic clips. And I figured what better person to recap the hottest event of the summer. I'm talking about SummerSlam. It happened this past weekend. We're going to go all over it. Did you watch SummerSlam this past weekend?
I did. And I'm not a regular WWE viewer these days. I don't watch their TV. And I guess I watch about half of their premium live events. I know that much. But I haven't watched in a while. So it was, I feel like I have a different view because I don't watch the TV, but I think I know enough. I know, they fill you in.
Do you, since you don't watch TV, do you read recaps online? Do you kind of just see what's going on Twitter? How do you keep up with it?
I guess like Twitter and just hearing people talk about stuff, either putting stuff over or complaining about things. I know the big beats from week to week. I don't know about what, people are doing at the bottom of the card. If people aren't talking about it, then I really have no clue.
Mm-hmm. And when did you decide to check out of the week to week for WWE? What was the turning point for you?
God, it was years ago. I went, I went to WrestleMania in New Orleans. Whichever one had Ronda Rousey show up for the first time and had that AJ Styles Nakamura match where they both kicked each other in the nuts. I went to that show and it was so long that I was, it wasn't like I was already like, I wasn't the biggest fan already. I wasn't a rah-rah fan, but after that I was like, I think I'll take a little break from WWE. I've had enough. And there's just so much other stuff out there and it's so easy to watch whatever you want to watch that I just got tired of complaining about WWE and just kind of started watching things I want to watch.
I like that.
Yeah.
You're not, it's just ultimately WWE wasn't for you, so you found what was for you. So I respect that.
Absolutely.
Me personally, I've recently given up on Raw. It's actually been a few months now, and it's been a great decision. 3 hours of my day back.
Good. Yeah.
And
you
really, with a lot of it, you really, if something cool does happen, it's all on YouTube the next morning.
Exactly.
But with that said, so SummerSlam, you've checked in and you're not checked in. What is your overall feeling after the show?
Well, I liked it. It was a big, fun show, and nobody does the big shows like WWE. And it was, it had that almost a WrestleMania feel with the Ford Field and I don't know how many people were there, 70,000 or whatever, but it felt like a big, huge show. And I think they delivered on that. And they didn't have too many matches. I know some people were mad about matches that didn't make the show or whatever, but I feel like they had enough matches. Some stuff went a little long, of course, but all in all, I thought it was a fun show.
Yeah, and I agree with you. That's one thing I really respect about the Triple H era, which is that he does not want to have those 7-hour WrestleManias. I was stuck at the New York WrestleMania. I think it might have been a year or two after the one you're talking about. And I had the same feeling at the end of the show, like, just end. I'm done. I don't want this anymore.
It's like, do you care about the fans at all? What is this?
So let's go through the card. Kicking things off, we got Logan Paul versus Ricochet. Is this your first look at Logan Paul, or have you seen one of his?
No, I've seen. Let's see, what Logan Paul match have I seen? I didn't see his Roman Reigns match because I didn't watch the Saudi Arabia shows. What other match? I know I've seen him because
he faced Seth Rollins.
Yes,
and The Miz.
Yes. So I saw the Seth Rollins one, and I like him for a celebrity and someone who is, I think, a piece of human garbage in life. But he has picked up wrestling and is getting it. And, this was showing what he can do more than the other matches, I think. And also is a good spot for Ricochet.
Absolutely. I was very excited as a longtime Ricochet fan that he's getting this kind of spotlight. Like, even though it was a losing effort, this is the biggest profile match he's had in WWE ever, I think.
Oh, yeah.
And the thing with Logan Paul that really amazes me is this is his 4th or 5th match, and he has the confidence of like a 10-year veteran.
It's wild. It's like Kurt Angle picked it up that fast.
Yeah, you forget that this guy is totally new. I mean, I guess he did do amateur wrestling, and, you know, he's a social media star, so he knows how to work, so to speak.
Yeah.
But it's still really, really fascinating to watch just how comfortable he is.
Yeah, it's wild. And my question is that while I'm watching this, I'm wondering, like, is he... if you wrestle Logan Paul, are you practicing your match with Logan Paul? You know, because I don't know if he's like got it to that degree to where he can, you know, learn some spots the day of and then kind of mess around and then do the match, or if you have to kind of do the match with him a few times, like you have to with some celebrities. I wonder.
I imagine there is some rehearsing. I don't know how much Ricochet is doing, maybe like the day before, day of.
Yeah.
But yeah, it has to be that, right? Like, there's no other way.
But either way, he's a freak, man. He's a freak, and he's picked it up and looks good and gets a response. I don't know about the end of the match was no good, and I feel like that's kind of the story of the show, is that there were great matches and kind of fart in the wind endings.
That's a very common WWE trope, I feel, is that they just fart out the ending. Then we got Cody Rhodes against Brock Lesnar. A very oddly booked program in general, because we still don't know what Brock Lesnar's motivation was to attack Cody Rhodes in the first place the night after WrestleMania. It was never revealed, but in this match, Brock gained respect for Cody.
Yeah, you let Brock beat you up enough and he'll respect you.
It's a weird fetish, but sure.
Yeah.
I did like Brock in total beast mode. This kind of reminded me of the match he had with John Cena many years ago at SummerSlam.
Oh, yeah.
Where he was just beating the crap out of him. And Cody's a great baby face and can really take the abuse.
Yeah, it was the passion of the Cody. He was taking a lot of punishment the entire time, and it was good. I liked it. I don't think I saw their other two matches. I might have seen one of them and just forgot, but I liked this one, even though I don't know anything behind it. Like you were saying, why did Brock attack him after Mania? I think just to give Cody something to do.
Yeah, I mean, that's really it. Brock never explained himself, and I guess he doesn't have to now. There was a big handshake and a big seal of approval, which Triple H tried to say at the press conference after the show was not scripted, which I'm just like, get out of here. You're killing your credibility, please.
Yeah, so you think that was scripted?
Absolutely.
I just don't see that happening unscripted in that environment.
Also, that whole segment took like 3 or 4 minutes. They would have cut away if there was nothing planned in the aftermath, you know. Then we had a good old-fashioned battle royal presented by Slim Jim. And I enjoy battle royals. This is a fun way to get a bunch of hardworking wrestlers on a big stadium show, so I always support that. And I think that this was booked very eloquently. The right person won.
Absolutely. I haven't seen the rise of LA Knight. I've seen him in other places and other gimmicks and everything like that. I know he can talk the talk, and I hear he's getting over, and boy, oh boy, is he over. It was wild to see the reactions he's getting.
Yeah, it's weird. Like he obviously is influenced by The Rock and Austin, and there's just you can't miss it. But I feel like because no one else is doing that now, it really sticks out as original.
I was thinking about that too. It's like some people say he sounds like The Rock doing an impression of Austin. Some people say he sounds like Austin doing an impression of The Rock. But there's no doubt that he has actual charisma and actual skills on the microphone and can, work the WWE style well. And yeah, we grew up on people ripping off Ric Flair, so it's about time people start catching up and ripping off people from the late 90s.
That's what I think. Like, wrestling is about ripping off gimmicks from 20, 30 years ago. That's just what always happens.
And giving it a little spin.
Yeah.
Oh man, and I was watching it with some buddies, and we leaned hard on the yeah. It was, like a bunch of drunks. I don't drink anymore, but everybody else was drinking, and I just had a few pieces of cake and all candy, so I was hyped up as well, and we were just yelling yeah, and I'm sure his neighbors are mad because we had a little too much fun.
I think that's part of the reason why it's so over. It's so fun to do. It's very easy to get caught up in it. Then we had very much the rest break match, and I say this with all due respect to both competitors. Shayna Baszler defeating Ronda Rousey in a MMA rules match, which the crowd did not get into at all.
Yeah, I I also didn't get into it at all. I think like watching it with with all my buddies and everything, I feel like we were yabbed out after the battle royal, and then we're basically resetting during that match. So I remember bits and pieces of it. The crowd wasn't too into it. It I don't know. When WWE tries to do these MMA rules or these things where they are all of a sudden pretending that people are doing MMA within the world of wrestling, it's never works, right?
It looks very exposed. Because there's certain moments like a ref getting in there, that's a ref stoppage. That's it. The match is over.
That's it.
It doesn't make sense. But also, it was fascinating just to look past the two competitors and see in the audience huge exodus of people, like huge movement of people just running around. And, this is what I've realized going to a bunch of live events in the last few years is that people need piss breaks. People need food breaks, and at these events, there's no commercials. There's no built-in moments where they can get a good 10 minutes. So when you deliver a match like this, they're going to decide, all right, I'm not going to miss, Gunther. So I'm just going to go during this moment,
Yeah, especially after the highs of the battle royal and everybody was happy. It's like, okay, let's go get a hot dog. Let's pee. And it's so crazy to think of how big Ronda Rousey was when they brought her in and how she's leaving now. Just like, I don't think people even care. Yeah. It's wild. And I love Shayna Baszler. Her NXT run was amazing. And I, root for her to do well on the main roster. So I like that she was in a featured spot, but I don't know. I hope she does more after this now that Ronda's gone.
And I feel like it was very nice of Ronda to put over her friend in such a declarative manner.
Yeah, she tapped out, right?
Yeah. Which I think is a big endorsement.
Yeah.
It's just too bad that the way they set it up, nobody cared. Everyone was just like, it was like a sigh of relief, like, okay, great, we can move on. But also, to your point, I think Ronda and Shayna are Raw wrestlers. I don't believe that Shayna was on Raw at all last night. So it's kind of like, well, what are they going to do? They have to put her in a program, I feel, right away.
Yeah.
Maybe
for a
program.
belt. Yeah,
exactly. Then we had Gunther versus Drew McIntyre. And man, Gunther's been on such a great run. He has brought strong style to WWE because it is so cool watching his high impact matches. And they're unlike anything on a WWE card.
And he is someone that if I made a prediction when he was Walter, and it was like, is he going to do well on the main roster? I'd be like, oh, hell no, of course not. And then when they changed his name, I was mad. And I was like, this is it. He's done. And it's like, no, he's the man. And it's so great to see that they're pushing him right. And it's working. And he is fit in this role that they have made for him. No one else can do this.
And to your point, it's like he's not going to let a name change or a request to lose weight get in the way of him making it. Like he's like,
Yeah.
I want to be successful. Oh, they want that. Like I'll make whatever they need work happen because I need to make it.
And he's doing it. It's great. And my hope now that he's about to beat the Honky Tonk Man's record, I want Gunther versus Honky Tonk Man on that day. It could be, one chop. Just bring Honky Tonk Man in. He'll take one chop, and Gunther will beat him. And the new longest reigning IC champ. That's my dream. That's how I would book it. I would book a 70-year-old man getting chopped.
I think that's a great idea. And I think even if they don't, like, even if he doesn't take a chop, they need to bring him in some way to try to stop Gunther, Like, fail at it, of course, but
yeah, it could be fun.
You got to give the Honky Tonky Man his due, as Iron Sheik used to call him.
Yeah, he's still, Honky's still with us, so, give him a payday.
Yeah, and he looks fine. He was at like one of those conventions recently. His hair's dyed. It's okay. We can make it work. But yeah, what'd you think of the match?
Oh, I liked it. This was the one time that I've rooted against Drew McIntyre because I got to root for all the Scottish guys, and I love Drew, but I want the Gunther reign to go long, and I like the match. It was good, hard hitting Gunther match. So yeah, I was happy with it.
Yeah. Always a bright spot of any pay-per-view he's on. So really happy for him and curious what the next program is. Then we had the World Heavyweight Championship on the line. We had Seth friggin' Rollins against Finn Balor. What'd you think of this match?
This was good, but I was wishing that Finn would have won. If Judgment Day is the hottest group on Raw, then let Finn have some gold. And this version of Seth Rollins just I don't know what I might have missed where it meant something, but I just don't get it. I don't get it, and I don't really like it. It seems kind of forced and phony in a way. I don't know.
I have to agree. Like, I get what you're saying. There's certain aspects of his character that I just don't quite understand. Like, I don't understand this Joker-esque kind of sensibility he has, especially as a face. But when the bell rings, he's still great.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, he's great. His matches are always great, and he puts together good stuff. So that's all good. I just don't get whatever he's doing with the gimmick. It's like, okay, you got loud clothes, cool.
I did like how they did the booking of the match though, because they're setting up this tension with Finn Balor and Damian Priest.
Yeah,
and you're wondering, oh, is Priest trying to help Finn Balor? Is he just trying to cash in for himself? And it always seems like Priest is trying to help, but something happens where it's understandable for Finn to think like, oh, he's trying to mess me up.
Yeah.
So I do like this angle that they're doing.
Damian Priest is a star. They really like that. I feel like he was on the up, and then that Puerto Rico show just put him over the top. And it's like, this guy, now or never with this guy. He's, I think he's like 40 or something. It's like, yeah, it's time. That guy, he's good, and he's WWE good. I think he could be really good for them.
I absolutely agree. And the Puerto Rico show was insane. How much the crowd reacted to him and how much of a top star he looked like. And you're right, he has the perfect look for them. He's tall, he's Latino, like he fits all the boxes that they want. So this, I agree with you. I thought Finn was going to win because I thought it would be very exciting to see that dynamic between him and Damian Priest. And now that Finn didn't win, I'm curious where all of them go. It looks like Seth is going to be going into a feud with Nakamura now, which that should be fun. Those should be good matches. But you kind of know right away Nakamura is not going to win the title. Like they're not. Yeah. If they're not giving it to Finn, they're not giving it to Nakamura. So then what happens to Judgment Day? Like where do they go next now?
Yeah, it just seems like that would have been perfect for Finn to win, and then they further the Damian Priest Finn stuff and get some more tension and everything. So I really don't know. I don't even know who else is on Raw for them to have fun with.
Yeah, I guess maybe they could start doing a tag team title feud. There really hasn't been anything with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. That's the other thing that's so crazy is WWE is so stacked. You almost forget who wasn't on the show, and you could almost build a whole pay-per-view card from those people, and it would
Yeah.
be just as enticing.
I think that's good. I feel like that's a good place to be as long as like the next pay-per-view they have some of the people that weren't on this one, like like Kevin and Sammy and stuff. But it's good to have people not make the big show. That's better than a 14 match show.
I agree. Yeah, like and really, I love even on the non-summer. Like this was a longer show. The the backlashes of the world. They have like 5 matches and
that's
2.5 hours. Let's go.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, that's like when NXT was at its peak, when it was a WWE Network exclusive show.
The takeover era.
It was beautiful. Those were perfect shows, and it's good
agree.
that Triple H is bringing some of that to the main roster. Even though I'm sure he has all kinds of battles to fight, and it's a different game. But yeah, less is more and less is better in pro wrestling.
What was my favorite match of the night? Bianca Belair won briefly the WWE Women's Championship, defeating Asuka and Charlotte Flair, only for Io Sky to come in and cash in her Money in the Bank in what I thought was a great, satisfying cash in and a great victory celebration. I was so happy for Io because I know how much winning the championship means to her.
Yeah, the whole ending was great. The beginning of the match was a little sloppy and stuff, and it seemed like there was some miscommunication in the beginning, but they really got rolling, and then the ending and the cash in was all perfect, and perfect crowd for that cash in. They were hot.
They're right,
and she deserves it. And I hope she has a good reign. And let's see who she takes on as the first challenger.
Yeah, I'm glad also they seem to have dropped this angle where they're trying to say that like her and Bailey have tension and they're trying to do something where like setting up a Bailey feud, but I think Bailey and her work well together. Like she needs someone there to kind of carry the promos for her.
Yeah, and it's like, why break up all your groups? Let some of your groups survive and
let one group have no tension. Yeah.
Yes.
Though one thing that's interesting is I was bummed out that Asuka took the pin and lost the match from Bianca, because now you could say that Asuka doesn't deserve a rematch because of how fairly and declaratively she lost the belt. And, I think Charlotte could have easily taken the pin here, but minor detail.
Yeah. Good point. Yeah. I don't see Charlotte taking the pin, but she should have. But I wonder, because yeah, it's like Asuka was beat by someone who was selling their leg. So she was like really beat. And because Asuka and Io would be a great title match at some point.
Exactly. Yeah, that has to be a feud that happens, I think. So, but the SmackDown Women's division seems very strong right now with all of these different ways the storylines can go. And all of these women, I think, can go in the ring as well. So that's exciting.
Yeah.
Then we had the main event of the show, a tribal combat. No rules. We were initially told that the tribal combat meant no other member of the bloodline could interfere, but clearly they did not stick to that.
That's so funny because it's like, well, they can't interfere in any match. That's the rules of every match is no interference, and people interfere, and the ref either sees it or they don't. So right. I don't get that.
Right, exactly. And it's like, because it's no DQ, like, well, what's going to stop someone from interfering? Just because you said it?
Yeah. I guess it's because they don't want to upset the elders.
So what did you think of this match?
I thought it was good. A little long, and it took a long time to get going, and, they got to do their cinema, so everything takes a long time. But I like it. Of course, the Bloodline stuff is the best stuff going. So yeah, I don't know how I feel about the ending. But it extends the story longer, which is what they want to do.
Yeah, and it's the hottest story they have. The ratings are through the roof. I understand why they want to. I agree with you. Because I'm an old man and the show was running a little long, I ended up passing out uncontrollably in the middle of this match. I woke up to the music video and I was like, whatever. I'll watch it in the morning. The ending was spoiled for me, but I thought the match was a little long.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't need all of that, like, punch and kick and walking around for like 10, 15 minutes in the middle of the match.
They love that stuff, though.
Yeah,
the
you
WWE
can really
style, that main event style.
That is the main event style. While the ending was shocking, I'm kind of just like, this doesn't make sense. Like,
yeah, he already turned on Roman too, and they did a double super kick on him, and
exactly. So why would he fall back in line with Roman? Some people are saying like, oh, he's not going to fall back in line. He's just jealous of his brother. And to them, I say, bless your hearts if you think this is what they're going to do, because I don't think that's what they're going to do. But this was the point. This was the first time in the story where I was just like, all right, it's time to like move it along. Like time to get this over with. And I haven't felt like that in a little bit. There have been points where I'm like, okay, they're really stretching right now. But then, the next chapter would happen. Yeah. And I'd be like, okay, I'm back into it. But now this is the first time that the twist happened, and I'm just like, yeah,
it's like, I didn't see that coming, but that doesn't make it good.
Yeah, exactly. There's plenty of Vince Russo stuff that you don't see coming, and it doesn't mean it's even pro wrestling. So, not to compare this to that. It wasn't as bad as that. And, he could explain it away on SmackDown.
Yeah, you never know. The explanation on SmackDown could help the ending be better.
Right. And SmackDown, I have to say, has been very watchable. I watch it usually on Saturday mornings. It's so fun to have wrestling to watch on Saturday mornings with that and Rampage. And it's a much easier show to watch because it's, 2 hours. And then since you're watching it the next morning, it's only like an hour and a half.
Yep.
Breeze past a few of the glamour matches. You can get over it in an hour. So
now we're talking.
Yeah, now we're having a great time. With the 3-hour show, not so much.
No, and it's clear that SmackDown is the show they care about. It's the show they are worried about, and the one that they put the most effort into, and it shows.
It is very much the A show. It has all the big angles. I mean, it has the Roman Reigns angle, so it has to be. But yeah, overall, I think SummerSlam was a fun watch. SummerSlam, always a fun show in general, because it's kind of like the sort of halfway point to the next WrestleMania now. Like we're now setting up the angles that will set up the angles to go to WrestleMania. Like we're not quite on the road.
The first dominoes are being toppled.
Right. So that's really exciting. And in general, I think, because of the nostalgia factor, it just has a way larger audience because everyone just remembers the name. It's one of the best named shows, easily.
Oh, yeah.
So that's SummerSlam. Also, one thing I've been very impressed with is you have been watching all of the Summer Olympics of New Japan, as I like to call them, the G1 Climax tournament. I am not as big a New Japan fan as I have been in years past, just because there's just so much stuff to consume nowadays with all the AEW content. I'm getting into Lucha now, and like there's more Triple Manias and all this, and CMLL to watch. And so this is the first year in a while that I haven't watched the G1, and personally, I'm not a fan of the new format. Before it used to be 2 blocks. Well, I guess it's not the classic format, but the format they've had for a few years was like 10 people in each block, round robin, so 9 matches in each block, and then the person with the best record in each block advances to the finals. I love that. Also, the matches had a 30-minute time limit.
Yes, this year they have a 20-minute time limit.
20-minute time limit, 4 blocks.
Yes.
And so I don't like the 4 blocks because the reason why I don't like them is because it leaves more room for people not to face each other. And that's what I love about the G1.
Yes.
Is you get these singles matches that you typically would not get throughout the year. Like, when I don't like that Okada's not in the same block as Ishii, or
I'm
like that.
super bummed that we didn't get Eddie Kingston versus Yano, which is like a dream match. I think that would be incredible, and I wish we could have got it.
Yeah, so it's been harder to get into. But tell me, like, your overall feeling of G1.
Okay, well, I have fallen off of New Japan for a couple of years. I've seen, I just came back for like Wrestle Kingdom, and every once in a while I'll catch a show. But this year, with everything in my life crumbling around me, I was like, I'm gonna watch every G1 show, and I have so far. I'm behind one show.
Okay.
And I've made this declaration because usually I'll try to watch a New Japan tournament and I'll fall behind one day, and then I'll fall behind 2 days, and then I have this New Japan tournament anxiety crushing me, and I'm like, oh, but I need to catch up, and then I'm behind 3 days, and I'm like, ah. So I was determined to not have that happen, and I've done it so far, and it's crazy, and I don't know if I can do it again. But I've never watched an entire G1, so this is yeah, I've caught like the best matches, just like, oh, what's good? Okay, I'll watch that. And this is like the first few days, I felt nothing. I was like, what am I doing? And then once the numbers start to shake out, you get into it. You're like, oh shit. So but he'll be mathematically eliminated if he wins this, and it's great. And one of the best parts about this year are all the new people that are in it. And that's what's got me most excited about New Japan, because it felt like they were just kind of spinning their wheels with the same people, the same matches over and over again. And this tournament has 3 young guys that recently came back from their excursions, Shota Umino, Ren Narita, and Yota Tsuji. And they're all in the same block. And it's been great to see these young guys who, I don't know their finishers or anything like that. So that makes it extra exciting because you don't know when it's over. And they've been killing it. And it's made me excited to see what the future of New Japan is when these guys really get in the mix. That's just been my favorite part. Of course, the Okada matches, the Ishii matches, seeing Eddie there has been great, but I've really enjoyed these young guys.
Yeah, and you kind of nailed something that I really enjoyed in past years, is you feel like the sense of accomplishment of getting through it. And also it's just like, you feel like, wow, I'm watching high quality Japanese wrestling. Like, this is the top of the line Japanese stuff. And it does feel really good once you start investing in the numbers and, like, rooting for somebody. I would always root for Ibushi in years past, and it would be like, oh, he has to win. Like, I would get so engaged because I'm like, he can't take another loss because he has to be in the lead here, and it adds so much drama to these matches that, he's facing whatever, Evil or Taichi, and it's like, a match you wouldn't normally be as invested in, but because of the results, it matters. So so you said the 3 Musketeers, is that what they're calling them now?
Yes, they're the 3 Musketeers. And they're the I think the 3rd version of the 3 Musketeers in New Japan. And the story is that they hate it. Those 3 guys hate being called that. They're insulted that they are called that and have to live up to that. But yeah, those guys have been killing it, man.
This is a very weird time with New Japan booking, because I've never felt the wrestlers themselves bury the company so much. Like with the Three Musketeers being like, oh, this marketing is dumb.
Yeah.
And also with Alex Coughlin in the press conference. I don't know if you watched the G1 press conference. I guess he was trying to get himself over, but I think all he did was make the company look really shitty, talking about how he's invested all of this time, how he avoided big family events. Like he didn't go to his grandparents' funerals on each side of his family because he was in the dojo. And, he was trying to make it. And finally he got his own T-shirt because he finally got his gimmick, and he asked New Japan to send one T-shirt to his mom and one T-shirt to his dad. And the response was, sorry, we can only give you one free T-shirt. and he was like, you can afford Sasha Banks money, but you can't send me 2 freaking shirts. Like that was his line.
I did not see that.
Oh man. And like, look, this is like I condensed it. It's like a good 4 or 5 minute story that he tells.
Wow.
And he says, like, I am pissed. I shouldn't even be in this tournament. The only reason I'm in this tournament is because they didn't sign these 2 guys from Australia, obviously talking about Aussie Open.
Wow.
And like they wouldn't even put me in, and like I've played so, and it's like, so you're not getting yourself over, buddy. You're just telling me that this company doesn't care about you.
Yeah.
But with that said,
he was good in the tournament.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's been having a good showing. I've definitely seen clips of him doing crazy power moves to like Jeff Cobb and everything.
Yeah, and I guess this is a spoiler, but he beat Tanahashi.
Oh wow!
In an upset, yeah, and
that is an upset.
Yeah, and that's the other good part about the G1 is that anyone can beat anybody because they're all going through it. They're all having a match every other night or however it shakes out. And so everybody's beat up, and the time limit is really making things interesting. There's been a few time limit draws, especially among those 3 Musketeers when they are faced against each other. There's been a couple instances where they had a draw, so that makes it fun.
I did see that the Red Narita Shota match. I thought was very, very good. Where
it was awesome.
Got the time limit draw. The 20 minutes. In that sense, it could be very exciting that it's a much faster paced thing. But on the other end, I feel like it doesn't allow for some of these more epic matches to happen because they can't really get going until 20 minutes or so. I feel like for
Okadas. And that's something that comes up a lot is that Kevin Kelly, I watch it with the English commentary, and Kevin Kelly will say, these guys have faced each other before, but it never was under 20 minutes. It was always over 20-minute match. So we don't know how this is going to even go. So that just makes it interesting to me. But you're right that like a New Japan main event quality sometimes can't happen in that short of a time.
Which sounds ridiculous, but if you watch their matches, they really got to pace them out and draw in the audience that way. It's really fascinating. And you mentioned Yano. I love Yano, and I feel Yano is one of my favorite parts of the G1 because his match will be unlike every other match because it's not about how tough you are. It's all about how smart you are with Yano because he will outsmart you. He will, and he is a wrestler who can beat anybody. Anybody can take a loss to Yano, and I love that as a storytelling device because it's so powerful that like you could be the best. You could have a perfect record in the G1, and then you're in there with Yano, and 3 seconds later, your perfect record is gone.
He's figured out a way. He's hidden some tape in his hat.
So, what were some Yano matches that you thought were good this year?
Pretty much all of them. There's a good, and I'm not a big Shane Haste fan. Shane Haste is in the tournament, but there's a good thing. Shane Haste has this goofy orange hat that he wears, and Yano came out wearing a hat. It was like a black kind of hat. It looked like a Jamaican like tam for dreads, for holding dreads, and he was wearing that. And they did a bit where they're like, switch hats? Do you want to switch hats at the start of the match? And so Shane Haste put the black thing on his head, and Yano just pulled it down. It was a black hood, like a blackout hood, and he tried to pin him. It was good. Yeah.
So
Yano, Zack Sabre is very good as well.
oh yeah, I did watch that one. That was. It's fun also because I feel like these serious wrestlers, they love to wrestle Yano because they can do something silly. It's something different for them as well.
Yeah, they get to have a little fun and not without even breaking character. It's not like all of a sudden he's acting like a goofball, but he's gotta be in there with a goofball and maybe counter some goofball stuff with some other goofball stuff.
Yeah. So other than the Yano matches, what are some matches for somebody who's not watching day to day but wants to check in with the good stuff? What would you recommend? What matches stand out to you?
Well, the last match I watched, I would recommend highly. Will Ospreay and El Phantasmo was very good. Taichi Okada, I think, was it? Yoshihashi Okada was very good as well. Ishii,
Shocking
Eddie
to hear
Kingston.
a good Yoshihashi match.
Yeah. And there's good story behind it. That's like the best part about the English commentary is like Chris Charlton will tell you these guys drama going back to the dojo. So he brings a lot of that. So it's like it made it important. Seeing Eddie in Japan is heartwarming, and I like his matches. The big ones are the best, of course, but his match with Ishii is a must watch.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah.
Ishii is Mr. G1, man. Always, I'm blown away with his work rate and stamina, and he looks very broken down, but he just turns it on once the bell rings.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, that's great. Well, who do you think is gonna take it all for the G1?
I haven't even thought about it, but I'm gonna say I was about to say Okada, but I'm gonna say Sanada, the champ. He's undefeated. Yeah. And I feel like they want to cement Sanada as a real top guy because I don't feel like his title reign has been anything special. So I feel like he could win it, really cement as a top guy
and it'd be
era.
something new. They haven't done the champion winning, I think, in a while. I don't think.
Yeah.
Maybe Okada did it once.
I'm sure Okada did it.
I was gonna say, did you see the video of Eddie Kingston visiting Kawada, his hero?
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness. I almost started tearing up a little bit. Like he's so happy. He's so palpably excited to be meeting his hero.
Yeah, just following his journey to Japan and is so awesome. I feel so, I don't know Eddie, but it's like I'm so happy for him that he's doing this and excelling and getting over there, and they like him.
Absolutely. I'm very happy about it. Well, this has been really fun. I love talking SummerSlam, love talking G1. If people want to check your stuff out and want to hang out with you a little more, how can they get a little more Mr. Green Mist?
Well, follow me on Instagram, Mr. Green Mist, spell out Mr. And same thing with Twitch. I do, as you mentioned at the beginning of the show, I do Pro Wrestling Potluck. It's a live weekly wrestling mixtape every Thursday night on Twitch, and I get viewer submissions. We also kind of play like some hot matches from the week, like not anything, not WWE or AEW or New Japan, but like, Pro Wrestling Noah, Tokyo Joshi Pro. I'm trying to learn more about Joshi, more about Lucha, so some of that stuff comes through. And then just like, goofy promos from the past and weird commercials. And sometimes I have guests. We watched TLC's Extreme Cheapskates, and they had the cheapest wrestler in the world. And we had him on the show recently.
Who was it?
Matt Rivera. His gimmick now is that he's the cheapest wrestler in the world, but on Extreme Cheapskates, they played it up a little bit. And we also had a two-time Wheel of Fortune champ, Fred Fletcher Jackson. He's a wrestler and a Wheel of Fortune champ. We had him on, and I had him play our game that we do on the show called Wrestler or Weed Strain. And I say a goofy name, and you tell me if it's a wrestler or a kind of weed. So we got a Wheel of Fortune guy to play my dumb game on this show. So we do a lot. It's hard to explain what the show is, But essentially, it's a mixtape, and sometimes I do my own weird stuff in the middle.
Nice. I've tuned in on occasion, and it's a fun watch for sure.
Yeah, even the worst show is a good hang. That's what I say.
What a pitch, folks.
But they're all good. And I also put them on YouTube later. So if you want to watch old episodes, Pro Wrestling Potluck, Google it, YouTube it. I'm Mr. Green Mist on all things. So
awesome. And thank you for entering the pit.
Thanks for letting me in.
All right.